Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session on Autodesk Construction Cloud Docs. So today we'll be talking about what is Autodesk Construction Cloud and how Docs can help us in a seamless workflow regarding the AEC industry, that is architecture, engineering, and construction industry. So talking about ACC. So ACC full form is Autodesk Construction Cloud. So it's an online cloud-based service by Autodesk for the AEC industry, that is architecture, engineering, and construction. So ACC has two packages. So one is document management, and that is Autodesk Docs, and the other is Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro, which consists of document management, design collaboration, that is Revit Cloud work sharing, and model coordination, that is clash detection. Then we have these common thing for these, which is admin insight and dashboard, which is basically the back end of the docs. So what is Autodesk Docs? Here is a definition for that. Autodesk Docs is an Autodesk cloud-based platform to allow its users to collaborate, not only for designer, but all stakeholders in a project can also collaborate using this platform. That includes the managers or building owners who want to review the design and doing markups. So on Docs, you cannot edit anything. Like you can only edit your models in Revit or your drawings in AutoCAD, but it is just a review platform. So you can find Autodesk Docs in your Revit home screen and your AutoCAD home screen also. So what are the features of Autodesk Docs? So here is a list of features which are there for document management. That is document control, 2D and 3D support, how we can create issues, markup drawings, embedded data, version control, create transmittals, and finally approval workflows. So we'll be talking about each of these things in the upcoming slides. Okay, so what is talking about document control? What is document control? So it is just ensuring that the right people have the access to the right information. So for each and every particular folders, as you can see under project files, there are a number of folders like concept, design, development, shared, work in progress, architecture, MEP, structure. So all of these folders, we can provide access to certain people in these folders. For example, all the architects will be there in the architecture folder. They will be having the access to open the architecture folder. The MEP consultants will have direct access to the work in progress MEP, and the structure people will have the access to work in progress structure. Then we have a shared folder where, let's say, we have the shared files where all consultants wants to share with each other. So we will have the access to these shared folder for all the architecture, MEP, and the structure consultants. So in the screenshot, you can see we can give different levels of permissions to each and every member. So for example, Abhishek Mukherjee has full manage control. Then let's say you have a trainee in your firm. So he will be having the access of the like just the view only access. So he cannot make any make any markups or reviews or make any comments in the files. He can only view the files or he can download the files. Then we have the create permission, which is view, download, publish markups. Other create permission is a person can view, download, publish markups and upload. Then we have the edit permission, which is view, download, publish markups, upload, and edit. And then we have the full manage controls. After that, let's move to the next slide. So 2D and 3D support. So talking about 2D and 3D support, let's say you have a Revit file in Docs. So you don't have to, it's not necessary that you have to have the Revit software in your system, in your PC to access these files. So you can access these files, that is your Revit model or your AutoCAD drawings, just by having them in Docs. So it will, you can just click on it and it will open automatically. So you don't need Revit software physically in your system or PC. Same way, you can open the 2D drawings associated with that particular Revit model, which are there in your model in Revit. So here is an example of an AutoCAD drawing. So you can see that Seaport Civic Center, it's an AutoCAD file. So you can just click on it and you can just, open it and you can view it, this particular file. Then talking about creating markups. So what are markups? Markups are basically your revision clouds as we do on in AutoCAD. We make revision clouds if we want to change anything or we want to, highlight something. So over here in Docs, we have these markups. So you can create markups of different shapes. Like you have a different number of shapes, like square, circle, or these cloud, sorry, cloud-based markups. And then you can add a text accordingly that you want to change something or you want to highlight something. So markups can only be created in your 2D drawings, be it your sheets which are there in your Revit model or your PDFs or your AutoCAD files. That's it. And you cannot create markups in 3D models. Also, there are two types of markups. One are published markups and the other are personal markups. So architects and consultants are busy people these days. They're working on multiple projects simultaneously. So just to remember something, they can create their own personal markups so that they don't forget something when they're reviewing the file. And if they want that the other team members also should view that particular markup, they can turn that markup to the published markup. Now talking about issues. So issues are also same as revision clouds. So like if you want to change something or you want to highlight something, you can create an issue for that. So issues can be created both for your, your 2D drawings as well as your 3D models. So issues can be created both ways. So you can see over here, this is how the issue looks like. So this is the tab which pops up when we are creating the issue. So you can add the title of the issue. You can make the status open, closed, in review, like that. And then what type of issue it is, whether it's a clash issue or it's a design issue, these ways. And then you can add a description and you can even assign issues to certain people. So for example, I'm an architect and there is some issue regarding the, let's say a beam is colliding with my wall. So I can raise an issue to the structural consultant and I can assign him the issue to change it in their Revit model. Then we have this embedded data. So it is nothing but whenever you click on any element uh, in Revit, so what happens is in the 3D model, so it turns blue and this window pops up. So it shows all the information which is there, like what's the element ID of that particular wall, what type of wall it is, from which level to which level this wall is going. All of these things can be seen. Also the material of the wall and its thermal properties, everything you can view. Then we have version control. So this is very interesting thing about Docs, that let's say when you upload a file for the first time in any of the folders, all the version will start from V1. So the version will be V1. That means it's the first version of that particular file in any particular folder. And when you update that file or make some changes in that file in Revit, and then you or AutoCAD, and then you upload that file again to Docs. So the version will change from V1 to V2. And if you upload it again, then it will change from V2 to V3 and so on. But the interesting thing over here is that you can compare the versions. You can compare V1 with V2 or V1 with V3, V5 or V10, whatever. And you can see what all changes have been done what all elements have been added, removed, or modified in that particular model or drawing. So this is an example of version comparison. Here you can see three colors. So green is for added elements, and red is for any removed elements, and yellow is for modified elements. So in this particular example, we have added some windows and these shafts, and then we have removed, we didn't remove anything from here. So it is showing 0 remove, and we have modified some elements, and some elements got modified on their own because when we inserted a window, the geometry of the elements got modified. For example, these walls. So they are highlighted in yellow color. Also, you can see a snapshot of this particular PDF, uh, which is taken during version comparison. So all these red walls which you are seeing, these are highlighted because these elements have been newly added to this particular uh, PDF. Then you can create a detailed Excel report. You can generate an Excel report of the elements which have been added, removed, or modified, and you can see what kind of modification it is, and you can see their element ID and so on. Then talking about transmittals. So what are transmittals? So when we talk about CAD based firms, AutoCAD based firms, there when we are releasing some documents or some drawings to the site, we make a document on A4 sheet in Excel, where all the titles of the drawings which we are releasing on site are printed along with their revision types and all of these things. So in transmittals, you can create e-transmittals over here, by which you can create the transmittals, and you can uh, select the drawings or the models which you want to send to the person or multiple people. So it's kind of uh, an e-transmittal. So you have these permissions called can see all recipients, or recipients can only see themselves. It's kind of CC and BCC which we have in mail. So this way you can create the transmittals. Then we have approval workflows. So let's say, again, talking about a CAD based firm. So let's say there is some junior architect and he has been given some work by a senior architect. So what he will do, he will make the required changes which are given by the senior architect. Then he will take out a printout and then show it to the architect, senior architect, and then his senior will give his comments on that particular drawing, and then that drawing will be passed on to the project architect maybe, and then he will give his comments, and then finally it will get approved or rejected. So over here also we have a multiple sets of approval workflows, like 1-step approval workflow, 2-step, 3-step, 4-step, 5-step. Then we even have group approval workflows where people can accept or reject the file in groups. So here is an example of a 2-step approval workflow. So it basically consists of one initial review, and then we have one final review. And over here, people can, there will be an initial reviewer, there will be a final reviewer, and then he will be, uh, you know, um either accepting the file or rejecting the file. They will be reviewing the file. Also, we have this option of automatically copy the approved files to a particular folder. So then we have these, how we can submit files for review. So we can select the files for review, and there can be multiple reviewers. And then we can select the files, and then we can send the files for review. And if they get accepted or rejected accordingly, there will be this particular approved tick mark or this rejected cross mark on the file. So this was all in this particular PPT. Now we'll move to the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So acc.autodesk.com is the URL for this particular Autodesk Construction Cloud. So now I can, here is a list of all the particular projects which I have been a part of. So I can view these folders, view these particular projects, and I can, you know, create a new project also. So to create a new project, I'll click on create project. I'll enter a name. Let's say demo. Project. I'll give a project number 00, let's say 3. Then I will select the account. I'll choose Capricorn India. Then I'll see what is the project type. Let's say it's a demo project, demonstration project. So I'll find the demonstration option. Then if I have made a selected template, if I have a template for the folder structure, then I can choose that particular folder structure. Then I can enter a time zone, start and end date. All of these things can be added, and I'll click on create project. Okay, so this already exists. So I'll say I'll add Capricorn over here. Now let's try creating the project. Okay, so it got created. So now it is showing my name, and I will turn on docs for myself like this. Then I can select a role for myself. I'm an architect. I'll select this role. So you can see I'm automatically a project admin. So there are 3 types of access. So one is account admin, then we have project admin, and then we have the project member. So account admin can create multiple projects, different projects. And then we have the project admin. He is responsible for that particular project. Like he can add or remove members. He can create the folder structure. He can give other members the required permissions to access different particular folders. So also an account admin is automatically a project admin for any particular project, and there can be multiple project admins. So you can see I'm the project admin. I'm also the account admin. Here you can see I'm the account admin, and I'm automatically a project admin for this particular project. And I have docs available since I turned on this particular module from here. Now it's time to add some members. So I'll add some members over here. Let me add my colleagues over here. Let's say I want to add Soma. Then I will add Prakriti. And I can add Shoaib. Then I'll add one more person. So I've added these people over here. And I want to add them as members. So I'll click on add. So right now I can't see any of the members. So what I'll do is I'll refresh the page. Okay, now I can see my different project members which have been added. So here I can see these members over here, right? So now it's time to create a folder structure in my docs. So I'll go to docs. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a folder structure. So project files is a default folder uh, in Docs. So I have to add these folders accordingly, which I want there to be in my project. So what I'll do is I'll click over here, add subfolder. So I'm taking a typical folder structure of a design firm. So first we'll have concept stage. So I'm adding these numeric values so that these folders come in order. Then we have 01 schematic for schematic design. Then I'll add another subfolder. This will be 02 and I'll call it design development. Another subfolder I'll add, which will be tender for tender stage. This will be 03. Another subfolder I'll add. This will be GFC for GFC, good for construction stage. And finally, I have an as built folder. So I've created my basic folder structure. Now I'll develop the design development folder structure. I'll click on add subfolder. First will be my A, work in progress. Then would be B, shared for shared drawings or documents. Then I'll add C, approved for approved files. And finally, I have a D folder called coordination. Now I'll detail my work in progress folder structure. I'll click on add folder. This will be A1, architecture. Then there will be A2. This will be structure for the structural consultant. Then there will be A3, which will be MEP for the MEP consultant. So I've created my basic folder structure. This is how it looks like. 00 concept, then we'll have schematic, then we'll have design development. In design development, we have a work in progress, which will consist architecture, structure, MEP folders for the work in progress. And then we have the shared folder, which will be used for um, design collaboration and shared files. Then we have the approved folder, which will be used for the approved files. Then we have a coordination folder where the coordination will take place. Then we have a tender folder for tender drawings. Then GFC for GFC drawings and as-built for as-built drawings. So now how things will work. So I'll just annotate it over here. So let's say I'm an architect and I have designed a building and I have placed the architectural components along with the structural components. Then I'll pass that drawing to the structural consultant. What he'll do is he will delete all the structural components which the architect has placed, and he will add his own structural components like columns, beams, staircases, slabs with the right size, which will be added by the structural consultant, and he will pass on the model to the architect again. Then architect will further pass that model, which consists of the architecture and structural elements, to the MEP person or the MEP consultants. And then he will again put, uh, there can be further bifurcation like drainage or firefighting and HVAC. So I can further detail out this like that. And then he will pass that model again with their MEP elements to the architects. So the model which the architect will have is that will consist of architecture components plus structure components and MEP components. So this particular model which the architect will have, this is called the BIM model or the federated model. So this will be the federated model, which we also call as a BIM model. So I'll just clear this, all these annotations. Okay, so now it's time to upload some files in these folders. So I'll click on upload files. So either I can drag and drop from my system, or I can go to the right folder and I can upload the file from there. So I'll go to my PC and I'll go to desktop. And over here, let's see what files I can upload over here. Okay, so let me choose a PDF, an AutoCAD file, and I'll upload an architecture model over here. And I'll click on open. So these files are getting uploaded. And also I have a PNG. So I'll upload this also. So I'll click on done. It will get uploaded. Then I'll go to the structure folder. And over here, I'll upload the structure file. So I'll click from my computer. I'll choose the structure model. This is my structure model. I'll click on open. So here is my structure model. I'll click on done. Once it gets uploaded. So right now I don't see any files in the architecture. Okay, I see the files. Otherwise, I can also refresh it. So I'll just refresh it once. And I can see these files over there. And if I go to my structure folder, I'll see my structural file. So I'll show these files by opening them one by one. So this is my PDF. So I can see my PDF over here, right? I'll close this. Then I have an AutoCAD file. I'll click on it. So here is my AutoCAD file. Then I have the PNG. So Autodesk Docs supports up to 70 different file formats. So you can open your Navisworks files, also your SketchUp files, your Revit models. Then I'll click on this Revit model. So you can see this particular Revit model which I have opened, and I can just rotate it, zoom over here, zoom out, all of these things I can do. So I don't need any Revit software or AutoCAD software to open the AutoCAD files or open the Revit files in Docs. So once it is in Docs, I can easily open it just by clicking on it. Now what I'll do is I'll explain you these tools which are there. First of all, we have this orbit tool. So you can just orbit your drawing, your model like this. Like we do in Revit by holding down your shift key and your central mouse button. Then we have this pan tool. So you can use it to pan your model like this. Then we have a zoom window. So let's say I want to view this railing detail. So I can just make a window like this, and I can just zoom into it really well. So it will not pixelate because it's a vector based system which Autodesk Docs uses. So no matter how much you zoom into any detail, it will not pixelate. And then we have this fit to view. So I'll click on it and I'll get zoomed out of the zoom. Then we have this section analysis. So I can cut a section like this. So I can cut the section and I can, this is my gizmo. I can move it in and outside like this. I can see all these details like this, right? Then we have a major option. So I'll just turn this off and I'll go to the distance measure option. Let's say I want to measure the distance from here to here. So I can see this is around 860 mm. So I'll try to pick this corner. So this is around 900 mm. Then I can also measure angle by going to the angle option. So I can just measure it like this. So it is 90, almost 90 degrees. Let me snap to this point. Then we have these first person option. So I can walk inside the model. I'll go to this first person. So these are basically the controls which is there. Like you can walk by using the arrow keys or WASD keys, which we also use when we are playing some video game to walk and navigate inside the game. Then we have a go up and down option, which we can use for, and the keys are Q and E. Q is for going downwards and E is for moving upwards in the air. Then we have a run option, which is you can press the shift key and you can move really fast by pressing any direction key. Then you have the teleport option. So you can, teleport yourself to any part of the model. Then we have a look around. So we can press the drag, we can press the left key of the mouse and we can drag to view it. Then we can adjust the speed also by this minus and plus buttons. So I'll click on OK. So now let's walk inside. So I can walk inside the model like this. I can look like this inside the model. I can look up. I can, drag my mouse and look. So I can go inside the model like this. And now I can look around. I can see what our components are there inside my model like this. I can see over here, we have a door here. Then I can move out. Then we have a settings option. So these are basically your configuration settings. Then we have some navigation settings. Then we have some appearance settings. Like you can turn on the shadows and reflections. Then we have this environment settings. If you want to change the background, so you have different options. So I'll keep it to the default settings, and I'll just close this. Then this is the sheets and views option. So I'll click over here. So we have these different sheets and views. And I can just view this, and I can, keep it like this. And then I can go to 2D. Over here, I have all of these sheets. So I can view my sheets over here from here. So this is my site plan. Then I can see my ground floor plan. This is my first floor plan. This is my elevation. So now let's try and create some markups over here. So let me go to my ground floor plan. Let's say I want to remove this particular shaft from my model. So what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a cloud. Then I'll be adding text. I can reduce the size of the text. Then I can say remove shaft. And now I can publish this markup and publish this so that my other team members can also see it. Then I'm going to the first floor plan. Let's say I want to remove this particular window from here. So I can add a call out like this. I can say remove window. Then I can publish this markup. So now let's do these things changes in Revit, and then let's upload this file again over here. So I'll find this file. I'll go to the right folder and I'll open this architecture file. So I'm opening this file in Revit. So my Revit is opening up. It will take around 30 seconds more. Okay, there is some error. Let me try again. Now I'll be opening my folder, my model. I'll go to open. So this was that model. I'll click on open. So I wanted to remove this shaft. I'll just delete this. Then I wanted to remove this particular window. I've deleted this. And let's save this model. So we have made some changes. And now we'll be uploading this model again to Docs. So right now the version is V1. And let's see what happens when I upload my model again. So this is my architecture file. I'll click on open. I'll click on done. So you will notice that the version changes from V1 to V2. So now it is V2. And let's open this file now. I'll click on refresh once. I think I'm experiencing a low internet speed. That's why it's taking that much time. Otherwise, it takes around 20 seconds to open the model. Okay, so now I can see my model. So I removed this shaft from here and this window. So now I can compare my versions of this model. So I'll click on this button over here, which is compare button. And I'll choose V1 from here and choose 3D and click on compare. So here you can see this particular window is highlighted in red, and this shaft is being highlighted in red because we removed it. We removed this window. We didn't add anything new. So there are no green elements, and this wall is yellow because when we removed this window from here, the geometry of the wall got modified. That's why it's showing in yellow color. So this is basically the version comparison. And I can even download an Excel report by clicking on this drop down. So I can open this file. I'll show you. how it looks like. So it is basically showing me the walls which were modified and the walls which were removed, and this window which we removed. It is showing M fixed along with the element ID, and changes removed. Okay, so now we have seen how we can do the version comparison over here. Now I'll close this. Also, we can see different elements by levels over here. So if I click on this particular levels option, if I want to see the terrace level, it will show me the terrace level. I want to see the first floor. Everything will get hidden. Only the first floor will remain. If I want to see the plinth level, it will show me the plinth level. Then I have this model browser. Let's say if I want to add all the model, I can hide all of the model. Then I can see the first floor. I can hide the walls if I want to. I can see what is inside over here. I can hide the railings. I can hide the furniture like this. And I can hide the doors if I want to by clicking on it. So I can do all of these things. Okay, so now we had this architecture folder. So if I click on these three dots and I go to permission settings, I can see only I am added over here. Why? Because I am the project admin. So I have access to all the folders by default. So now if I want to add some more members, I'll have to add them manually. So let's add some more members over here. So I'll click on add. I can enter names over here. I can select a permission setting. Let's say I want to give edit permission. I can add. Let's say he's a trainee. I want to just give view permission. I can give a view permission. And to her, I will give a create permission. So I've given different permissions to these people over here. You can see how it looks like. So I'll close this. Okay, now let's see what is transmittals, how we can create the transmittals. So I'll click on transmittal. I'll click on create transmittal. I have to choose my document. Let's say I want to add these files. I'll click on selected files. I have to give a name. Let's say this is architecture transmittal 001. I have to add recipients. Let's say I'm adding these two people. And I can add a message also. And I can click on create. So this transmittal has been created and it will get mailed to them. And they can view the files like this. And they will have a zip files option to download it. So it is right now preparing it because it had my model over here. So in details, it is showing at what time who has created the transmittals, who is the recipient, at what time they have received the transmittal. All of these things are there. Now let's come to to approval workflows, that is review. So before creating a review, I have to create an approval workflow. So I'll go to settings. I'll click on create approval workflow. So here are a variety of approval workflows from 1 step to 6 step, and then we have these group approvals. So for simplicity, I'll be choosing 2-step approval workflow. I'll click on next. I have to give a name. Let's say this is approval workflow 001. I can add a description. Then who is the initiator? I'll select myself. So this is time allowed for the initial review. So the initial review can be single or multiple reviewer. Then I have to select the reviewers. I'll add Soma. I'll also add myself because Soma is not here. Then we have this every member must review or minimum number of reviewers required. Then we have approvers. So I'll add Varepom and I'll add myself also since he is not here. Then this is the approved symbol and this is the rejected symbol. And I'll click on copy approved files to, I'll select a folder. I can also copy approved files to a particular folder. So which will be this approved folder. I'll click on OK. I can give some notes also and I'll click on save. So my approval workflow has been created, AW001, approval workflow 001, which is a 2-step approval workflow. Right? So now I'll again go to reviews. I'll click on create review. I'll select my files for review. So I'll select all of these files. I will click on create. I'll give a select an approval workflow. And then I'll give a review name. Let's say this is AR001. And I'll click submit. I'll click on send. So now this review has been created and I'll click on it. So I'll click on start review. So these are my files. Let's say I have to give comments to these files. So first is the PDF. Okay, there is some issue. Okay. This is the PDF. So let me add a comment that accepted. Then let's say I'm not satisfied with the color layer. I'll say change layer color and resubmit. Then let's say I'm not satisfied with the graphics. I'll say improve graphics and resubmit. And for this, I'll say accepted. I'll click on submit review. Then second part of the review will get started. I'll click on send. And I'll click on start review. So now this is the second part. So we accepted this PDF. I'll click on approve. We rejected this. I'll click on rejected. I rejected this also. And I approved this model. I'll click on submit review. I'll click on submit. So my approval workflow has been completed, and this is how it looks like. So now again, if I go to my files and I'll go to this design development, work in progress, architecture, I'll see these approved and rejected review status in the attribute, in the review status attribute. Also, my shared files, my copy approved files to this certain folder will also appear over here. These two files are there. So this is how it looks like. So this was all about the the docs review from my side. Any questions, anybody? You can type in the chat box if you have any questions. So we are open for questions now. So if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. You can raise your hand if you have any question. No questions. Yes, Harpreet, you have any question? Okay, then if you don't have any questions, I'll end this meeting. Thank you for joining, everybody. I hope you have an informative session about docs, about ACC docs. Thank you for joining once again. Okay, Harpreet is asking, can Revit lower version open in new version? Yeah, we can open a new lower version in a new version, but it's not vice versa. So you cannot open a upgraded version in a lower version of Revit, right? Any other question, anybody? Okay, then I'm ending this session. Thank you for joining. Have a good day.